The fire service is a lifestyle. Some of us grew up knowing that this is what we would do. Others found it later in life. We all have a story to tell. We live a career of experience and knowledge. But what happens when we retire? All that knowledge and experience walks out the door. Welcome to Capture the Knowledge.
My early time, well, I was 18 years old. My brother-in-law, Captain Bill Brown, worked for Fair Oaks Fire Department, and he said, my last year in high school, he said, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? What do you want to be? Well, of course, I wanted to be a football star or a musician, right, or something like that, right? But just didn't have that talent. So I tested for the fire service and then became a paid call firefighter at Fair Oaks, and here I am today. 1988, September of 1988.
Okay.
I was 18 years old. I just turned 18 in June.
Okay.
So right after my birthday. No. The group, I was the youngest. Myself and one other captain here at this station, Troy Simonek. He was in my academy, and we were the youngest in the department. Most of the other paid calls, resident firefighters that we were, they were a little bit older, and they were in their 20s probably. And then big gap of the firefighters that were the full-time firefighters there. There was a big age gap there. It was probably, they were old, right? They were in their 30s. It was different. I mean, we obviously hung around our age group and did a lot of stuff in camping and stuff at our age group, but it was new for Fair Oaks at the time because the paid call program was like the third class to go through. And so we were accepted, but we were still kind of young, and we were different than the older people. We had different interests, you know. We were into water skiing and snowboarding and stuff like that, and they were into, you know, fertilizing the lawn and talking about how good the lawn grows and how green they got it over the weekend and all that stuff. It was just different. It was different until we ran a call, and then we were all the same. There were a couple captains that were in Vietnam, and yeah, that's interesting to think about that. You know, it's like back then I got to talk to people who you know I worked with that went to Vietnam as the age I was then. You know, I was 18. They were there 18, 19 years old. They were one was my captain for a while, and he was tough. Yeah. He was a military guy. He expected a lot more out of maybe than the other captains. More militaristic type, you know, more like this is how we're going to do it. You know, 8 o'clock is the time you check out the equipment. 8:30 is when you do housework. You lunch from noon to 1, and they're right back at it again with drills until 5 o'clock. Okay. So you're just right on time. Boom, boom, every day. Paramedics. That's a difference, I would say. Right. We are different, but the same, I think. Different as in we run more medical calls. A lot of us are paramedics. We deal with all that, but the same as we still are there to help. We're still there when people call 911. So it's the same feeling, but just a different way to get there, I guess. If that makes sense. Just because of the changes that we've had. And I mean, look at all the stuff we're doing now. We're transporting now. We didn't transport back then. You know, we didn't transport critically injured children back then. That was an ambulance company that did it. We do it now. Phenomenal.
It was good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We knew all the people that worked on them because they worked in the same areas their whole career. So I grew up with the Cordova ambulances. You know, AMR of course came in, and all those other smaller ambulance companies that were in there. We knew all the people. They came over for dinner. We knew them. We ran side by side with them. I would say, well, we started, Meg 21 was in Medic 93, I think, was the ones that were like the first start of fire ambulances around here.
Right.
And then Fair Oaks, we probably got ours in 91, 92, maybe. And we started the ambulance stuff, and then we all went out and got our ambulance driver's license, and so we can drive. And then they hired paramedics, which a lot of them that we hired then work with us now. I was not. Okay. I wasn't even an EMT when I got hired on. I had to go get my EMT, and then that was a big scary thing for an 18-year-old, right? I had to go get my EMT.
Sure.
And then became a paramedic in 94. So I was fortunate enough that we were at Sac County. We're Sac County Fire now. They merged. The Fair Oaks Fire Department and Sac County merged. Mm-hmm. And I got to, I tested, and I got picked to go to school, and they paid for it. It was actually 2 years. It was a little bit longer because they stretched out because we still went to work. Mm-hmm. So I would go to paramedic school for 2 weeks and then back to work for 2 weeks. So it actually stretched it out.
Okay.
But it worked out. Yeah. It's amazing how fast that happens, huh?
It is.
How fast you become the mentor.
How quickly you're not the young guy anymore.
That's true. That's true. You wake up sore after fires now and everything. It's different. Just my back's sore from wearing the breathing apparatus. It's a different feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, I could, when I was younger, man, I could kick indoors all day long and pull fire hose and raise ladders and basically jump over buildings.
Yeah.
Now it makes me sore. There was I had a captain early in my career that we had a fire, and it was coming out of the back, the siding of the building, and it was just burning. They just put the new siding on there. They must have did something electrical or something. But I pull a line back there, and he looks at me and he goes, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, I was waiting for direction, mm-hmm. And so that I recognized right there that he was actually passing his knowledge on to me and letting me make those decisions. Uh-huh. And so it was a weird feeling, like, I don't know, you want to rip off siding and then check the attic and go inside and check the wall? He's like, all right, sounds good. Uh-huh. Me as a young buck, totally jacked up and excited and everything.
Sure.
And he was so calm, and you can see the experience right there.
Yeah.
You can see the experience in this guy, and he's just like, what do you want to do? Because he knew that I was the next generation.
Yeah.
He was giving me that opportunity to make those decisions.
That's great.
And years later, thinking about it, not even realizing it then, but years later thinking back, because that's kind of how I am to the young guys now. It's like, what would you do? Instead of just telling them, this is what we do. Let them make the decision, and let them, or the mistake. That's what you learn from. It was making me become the firefighter, mm-hmm. Without even me knowing it. He was making me think, because we're in the academy. You go through the academy, and it's like you're pulling the fire hose, you're going to the door, you're doing this, you're putting your mask on, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, and you're going to go inside, you're going to check the attic, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that. Those are all decisions that just seem like are made for you because it's a testing atmosphere. Uh-huh. They have to test you on those things. But when you get in the real life situation, he might not be there. He might be around the corner doing his 360 or something, and you got to make some real critical right now decisions. Mm-hmm. And so he was giving me the opportunity, and he was telling me and building my confidence in that, and letting me know that I can do it. And that, So thinking back in that call now, it's like that made sense. He let me make decisions, and so. And it's neat seeing. I call it the kind of the tunnel vision thing, because. You can even go firefighter or paramedicine, paramedic stuff. You can, when you're new, you tunnel vision on a certain skill. And so, let's say paramedics, say that you're going to intubate someone. Because I've had a lot of interns, and we could be intubating someone in the middle of the road, laying in the middle of the road, and cars are whizzing right next to us, and they don't even realize it. Mm-hmm. They're so focused in on this one skill instead of looking at the whole picture. Same with firefighters. When they're brand new, what do? Well, you get out, you pull the hose, and you go right to the door. But you don't look at the windows. You don't look at the roof. You don't look at, there's a door back there. You don't get you don't look at this building and say, that might be the kitchen, or that might be a bedroom back there, because you're going to go in there, it's going to be black, and you can't see anything. So you kind of get this view, there's a window right there, or there's fire there, and probably it's fire over there, or just something. So even as experience grows as firefighters, your vision opens up, and that's a kind of a cool thing, and you won't even realize that it doesn't until after the fire. You go, man, I really was right. I noticed all this stuff. Or you'll start remembering hydrants in the area just by driving around and just checking hydrants every now and then, and you'll go, man, I remember there's a hydrant at the end of the street, and it's just amazing. It's the experience that makes you better, obviously, and so your vision will start opening up as your years come on. I think it's what that company officer did, that captain did to me right then in that call, and then it took me years to realize it a little bit. But to give the newer generation, I don't know, it's not a leash, but it's let them start making decisions for themselves. You know what I mean? Let them, because you and me both know there's a lot of stuff going on fire, and there's a lot of stuff that happens right now, and there's a lot of stuff you go, oh, they did that, because you're so involved in what you're doing, and so if I was a company officer, I would definitely talk to my crew and say, you're going to start making decisions for yourself. If we get out on a because I had great company officers, and I can look back on them, they would be like, don't tell me what line you're pulling. Just pull a line. You know appropriate line to pull. If you need a big one, pull the big one. If you need a small one, pull a small one. You know what line you need to pull. And if we get there and we need a bigger one, we go get a bigger one. Or you know what I mean?
Sure.
We just make it bigger. And so those decisions right there will actually train the younger generation to make decisions to save lives and put out fires.
Yeah.
And then they'll make good company officers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Or if they choose to stay firefighters
Or
their
they
whole
choose
career.
to stay a firefighter like myself.
It's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Whatever is right for your career.
And it's odd when you become the most senior firefighter in the district. Number one.
Are you number one?
I am number one.
I had no idea I was talking to number one.
You're talking to number one right
Talking
now.
to number one. Great.
I know, right?
Yeah.
The oldest guy here. The oldest firefighter in this district.
Yeah. Wow.
Kind of crazy. Absolutely. Captain Greg Pryor. Everyone, he's retired now. I can talk to you about a call that we had, and he actually wasn't on the call, which is kind of ironic, but he helped me get through it. So early, I know the date, October 13th, 1989. I was a 1-year firefighter, and it happened to be Friday the 13th. I was at Station 31. We had a structure fire on Coloma and Sunrise. There's some I don't know what they're like not McEwen's, but just like apartment complex, a 2-story apartment complex. And we were actually second alarm in there, and the fire was blowing out the top, and we had second alarm, but we were the first one upstairs. It was kind of different. So pulled the line, went upstairs, put the fire out, did a search in one room, and then came out, did a search of the bathroom, did a search of another room, and then came out to the hallway. It was a pretty small little apartment too. And so I did all that, and then for some reason I had to go back into the room. I don't know what it was. Went back in the room, I ended up finding a 2-year-old. Halfway on the bed, halfway off the bed, grabbed the 2-year-old, ran down the stairs, and as I walk outside, there's some cut over ambulance people that were out there, and he said, that's not a real body. And I had to look at this. He said, that's a doll. And I looked at it, and I'm like, this is not a doll. This is a baby. And so we started CPR. And it was a baby. And we started CPR. And the next thing, and then they took off to the hospital. But the next thing that my crew was doing is they started taking my turnout jacket off and my beret off and everything. And I'm like, what are they doing? Well, I climbed over Mom, Dad, and a 4-year-old in the first room I went to that was completely burned. They were laying on the floor. And I crawled over top of them. Well, they were pretty much all over me. And so I didn't know it. And so being a 18-year-old kid, or 19-year-old kid at the time, it messed me up a little bit. I was going to quit the fire service. It wasn't for me anymore. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do a lot of stuff. And we didn't have critical stress debriefing back then. We didn't have it. We didn't have the EARS support team and all that stuff. We didn't have that back then. So Greg Pryor was heavily involved in his church, and Sun River Church right there on Sunrise, and he knew the pastor there. And the pastor was starting this new program, critical stress debriefing program.
Uh-huh.
And I was one of his first, what do you call it, students of the program, I guess. We went to Station 65. I didn't know anyone there. I was a young kid. There was all these older guys there. They were all listening to me, and I had to draw on the board and what I did and what I saw and what we did. And talked to him. He kept calling me, asked me how am I doing. Well, I didn't quit. And still thinking to this day. I know the exact date. To this day it was easy because Friday the 13th.
Sure.
But Greg pushed that, and he pushed it a lot. And then fast forward a month, we had another fire where a guy was yelling at us when we pulled up that his family was in there and they were dying, and we went in there and they weren't there. He ended up passing out, and they left, and he started cooking and caused the house on fire and passed out. But I flipped it again. I was like, oh, here we go again. And so and he got me right back into the system again. So he mentored me right through there, right through that. He recognized that one of his crew members was hurting.
Yeah.
And so and helped me, which is pretty phenomenal, because we don't, we're big bad burly people guys, right? We're firemen. We do all this bad cool stuff, and we don't want to show our weakness to the other guy, but he recognized it.
Sure.
And he the way he approached me, and the way he approached me and approached the whole situation saved my career. Absolutely saved my career. I tell you right now, Jeff, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
I'd have been gone. I'd be somewhere else, doing something else.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you stayed.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
It's a great job, great career. Goes by fast. Probably hear that a lot, don't you? Yeah. I remember, speaking of the older guys, I remember them saying, do this, plan this, defer calm this, do this, because you're going to turn around, you're going to blink, and you're going to be 25 years into it. I'm 30. I'm going on my 30. I'm in my 32nd, by the way. I'm going towards my 32nd. But you're going to be 25 years into this, and you're going to blink, and then you're going to go, "What the heck happened?" And your career is, and you're thinking about retirement.
Yeah.
It's amazing how fast, and they were so right.
Yeah.
So they were so right on that, because I look back now and I'm thinking, wow, I've been hanging around the firehouse for 30 years. 30 years hanging around the firehouse. It's a pretty cool job.
It is a pretty cool job.
It's a pretty cool job when you get excited in your uniform the night before, after 30 years. You're still ready to put it on and go to work.
And you still get excited.
I still do.
Yeah.
I do. That's why people go, how come you're not retired yet? I love my job.
Yeah.
I love my job. That's easy. That's my answer. I like going to work. And the overtime. Oh, there's so many funny calls of just. I have a ton of funny calls. Some that stand out in my mind is one. We had a vehicle fire on a Target there in 24's area, and I get out and I pull the fire hose and I put it out, and I look around and my crew's gone. My whole crew's gone. The captain and the engineer are gone.
Yeah.
And so I put out the rest of the fire, and I'm looking around, and it's like Twilight Zone. They were just gone. And I was like, what happened to them? So I waited. Next thing you know, they're both walking out of Target. We just had tacos for dinner, and they both had to go to the bathroom really bad, but each one of them thought they told me they were leaving the scene to go to the bathroom because they had to go now. And, neither one of them told me that. So I'm in my breathing apparatus, got my head in the engine compartment, putting out the fire and everything. I look up and my whole crew's gone. Yeah. And we're in the middle of the parking lot, and I don't know what the heck happened. So that was a little bit funny. That stands out. Another one stands out, same crew. Do a welfare check in the middle of the night. It's just those little things that make you giggle and laugh, right? So in the middle of the night, we do this welfare check. I get to the door, and I'm looking through the side window of the side of the door, and I'm looking through, and I'm trying to think, and there's these two big old Rottweilers just sitting there and drooling, looking at me on the other side of the door, looking right at me. And I look at my captain at the time, Bill Daniels. I said, hey, there's two Rottweilers right there looking at me. He goes, what are they doing? And I'm all, they're sharpening their fangs, saying, come on in, boys. Come on in. Like that. He goes, what? And I go, yeah, they're sharpening their fangs right now, dude. I think we laughed so hard. I mean, thank goodness there was no one that needed our help, because we were laughing too hard.
Yeah.
It's just middle of the night, running 100 calls. It seemed like 100 calls a day, but running calls all day long and all night long, you kind of get giddy, and you kind of start laughing. And that's one thing about the fire service, is you start getting this friendship with with your crew, if you're with them for a long time, I was there, about 12 years, station 24.
Okay.
9 years on the medic because we didn't hire.
Yeah.
So
it's a long time on that medic.
It's a long time on that medic.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fires on that medic though. So
Uh-huh.
I had a lot of first in fires, which is kind of nice. I even put out a whole kitchen fire with a garden hose one time on that medic off Hillsdale.
Was that before the engine got there?
Yep, sure was. They were all mad at me because I put the kitchen fire out with a garden hose.
Uh-huh.
So whatever.
Hey.
It is what it is. I did it from the window. It worked.
Yeah. So you were one of the innovators of transitional attack.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, way ahead of your time.
Way ahead of time.
Yeah.
And proving that you don't need that much water to put out fire.
Yeah.
If you use it right.
Good. That would be a great one to get a video of.
Oh man, that would have been awesome. That would have
Yeah.
been great. That
Share
would have been a good one.
Share it with your crew.
That was
and get back
before
to
everyone
station.
had cell phones. There's a change in fire service. We're filmed every time we go out. Every time we leave the fire station, you are on camera. There's a change right there. So, I mean, those younger generations out there, I would say, make sure it's good. Make sure it's clean. Make sure you're good, and watch your P's and Q's because you're on camera, no matter where we go. In this day and age, you're on camera. Social media, this is no joke. When I was at Station 117, Real Into Alberta has a Facebook page, and we would go on a vehicle accident or a vehicle fire or something like that. On the way back, Captain Phil Lopez would say, "Hey, check that page to see if we're on it." And 9 times out of 10, we're already on social media, already out to the world before we even got back to the fire station.
Yeah.
We're all over it. All of our pictures. So I stole a lot of pictures of me, doing something, but we're all over it. So you are on camera no matter where you go these days.
Once it's recorded, it never goes away.
It never goes away. Yeah. It's always there.
Yeah.
So I would just make sure you're right when you leave the house. It definitely overlaps. One is I would have to say your spouse has to be a very strong person. They have to be independently strong. So because we're not there all the time, we have to go to work a lot. We get mandatory. We can't go home. We're the fire department. We don't shut down. We're 24/7, all year long. So they have to you got the home life's a little different when you're in the fire service. They have to figure out how to do some plumbing, do some turn off electrical, call different stuff, HVAC stuff. So your spouse has to be an independently strong person, and they either learn that role or they're that way at the beginning. And because we're gone, we're gone 24 hours, 48 hours, or even more. So another thing that we do, we're holidays. Holidays, we are. You learn to figure out really fast. If you're years ahead because you're on a shift, A, B, or C. So you figure out, next year I'm going to be working Christmas. We're not celebrating Christmas on the 25th. We're celebrating it on the 26th or even the 22nd or something like that. It's just you have to change your time around. You miss birthdays, you miss holidays, I missed all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But looking back on it, you say I missed it. I missed the date, but I didn't miss the event because we just had to change the event to a different day. So that's tough for people to grasp around because I'm doing it now because, my kids are older and I have grandkids. And so they're going to their in-laws and their in-laws haven't been in the fire service. So even though if I'm off on Christmas, they want to do Christmas. They want to do Christmas on Christmas. So they pull, my daughters and my grandkids and my son-in-laws to their house on Christmas. I'm so used to change the day anyways. I'll just go, okay, we'll do it the night before because they're not used to the fire service. The in-laws aren't used to the fire service. So I am, and my wife is. So we just changed it to, okay, we'll do Christmas with you guys the day before. And then my kids are used to it. And then the in-laws go, he doesn't care about that? He doesn't care if it's on Christmas? No, I'll call him and do my whole Merry Christmas thing. But we'll just celebrate the day before. This job, we get paid well. This job, we get paid very well. And we have to work those holidays sometimes because it's our turn. It's what happens. I was looking around my house and I'm thinking, everything in here was bought by the fire department. my pay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, everything, because I've been doing it since I was 18. I didn't have money then. I had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And everything I own was from my paycheck from the fire department. And I'm pretty freaking happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? At the end of my career, winning.
Mm-hmm.
I won.
Yeah.
I won it. I won. My dad just had a stroke a couple years ago, but he was in construction. And he worked until he's 69 years old, almost 70 years old. He was still slinging a hammer. I'm not gonna be slinging a hammer at 70 years old. This job affords that, and it lets you do that.
Mm-hmm.
It lets you get out of here at 50.
Yeah.
But unless you're in a rare case like me and you like your job and you just can't stay. I think my brother is gonna. He was hired 2 years after me, and I think he wants to retire because his daughter is in high school. She's going to be a junior in high school. So I think he's going to go in December, and I think I'll pull it in December. I think I'll go with him in December.
Got it.
So we got basically almost hired. Well, we got hired full time the same day, and then we'll retire the same day.
Yeah.
My twin brother, by the way, if you don't know who I am.
Well, and you're the better looking of the two, of course.
Yeah, I'm obviously the better looking, but not the smarter one. Because the smarter one wouldn't have took a stint in EMS.
Got it. Well, good luck, sprains.
I know.
One of you's got
it's a
each.
give and take.
Yeah, it's give and take.
Obviously, you see it. I'm more handsome than he
Yeah.
is, but he's a little bit smarter than I am.
All right. Where's he working now?
He's right here at Station 114.
He's at 114.
Yep, on A shift.
Okay.
And I actually bid with him.
Uh-huh.
So my bid spot, when I'm not in EMS during the day, I actually bid, and I'm on the ARF, and he's on the engine here at Station 114.
Oh, cool.
So we're actually partners
Right on.
here at the station. So
Right on.
if I come back out from EMS, but I don't think I will. That question, you can go with the obvious answer of that question. It's like, oh, we're there when people need us and stuff like that. But the core is, and me as an older person now, or older generation, I guess you can call me an older generation. The core is helping. It's helping people. It really is. Everything we do is to help. And so if you got to have that little thing that says, I want to actually help people. And I know that's a cheesy answer. It's actually an answer I hear a lot when I do interviews. I just want to help people, But truly, everything we do is to help each other, in the station. I mean, we go from helping housework. We all do housework together. We help each other doing lawns. We help each other at home when they're building a fence, and then we transition into the 911 calls when people are helping the public. And so, the helping part, and the core is, so I get a chance, like I said, I have grandkids now. So, I get a chance to, because they ask me, what do you do, Grant? What do you do? I get to tell them what I do, and I'm pretty damn proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of it. And so, how many babies did you deliver? They're old enough to ask those, a couple of them are old enough to ask those questions.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty cool.
How many people have you helped? And we can't count that.
Oh, no way. There's no way we can count. I don't have a clue how many people I've changed lives and they've changed their lives.
Yeah.
I know one that he was a captain here, and I didn't even know him at the time. I was at Fair Oaks. His daughter fell off a chair, and she actually cut her head and scalp, and it was laying back. And Captain Doherty, his daughter, and years, and I was there, and I ended up putting it back, and I don't even know if I was an EMT then. And paramedics got there, and they took him off. And years later, he goes, "Was it you or your brother that helped my daughter out?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Don't you remember the scalp laceration and she fell off the chair?" And I'm like, "That was you?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Dude," "you were so calm and so." You're exactly what we needed that day. And I'm like, what? I didn't even know it, And so another one who helped was a lady that had a head-on auto accident out off Grant Line. And 18 years later, she found me and came back when we went out to lunch. She was unconscious. She's missing ribs. She's missing her arm, her leg. She was pretty messed up, but she was unconscious when we put her in the helicopter. But she found me, and we went out to lunch. So that's pretty cool to tell the next generation stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. You don't even realize, because, what's it? What do they say? 7 seconds of meeting the person, you get an impression of them or something like that. First 10 seconds or whatever. Really, we get those every day. Yeah. We get those things even for ourselves. We get my dad to construction, right? He would take 30 days or 60 days to build his house. He would grab me and my brother. He'd take us over there. He'd like, look what I did. I did this. And look at, we get so many of those every single day. We get so many of those. Look what I did. Look what I built. Yeah. Look what I accomplished every single day in the fire service. Every day.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Yes.
I wish I knew how a lot of the each one of the calls, the bad calls you go on, they start stacking up. I wish I knew that was coming at me, because when I first started, like I said, the EARS program wasn't there, the critical stress stuff wasn't there, and so you just kind of held it in, and because you were a big strong fireman, right? I wish I knew that that those things do add up, and so and a better way to deal with them, like we do now. We have avenues now to deal with those things. What else do I wish I knew? The lottery numbers. We have people that that use things to heal themselves. That in the past and maybe in the future. I mean, now alcoholism, and those things, or God forbid drug abuse or something like that. But God forbid alcoholism too. But
right.
But we have we have a way now to not go that route and go talk to someone and do all stuff. And they add up, man. Those calls add up, and so if you, a word of advice, for captains and for engineers and firefighters out there is baton chiefs all the way up, the whole department. If you see it and you think it needs to be brought up, bring it up.
Yeah.
And, bring it up. And so you or someone else on your crew, bring it up.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. They might appreciate that. They just might, just like I did.
Right. Even if they don't recognize it at the time.
Yep. Even if they don't recognize it, if they notice a change or sick leave abuse or something, you start noticing all that stuff, and I mean, there's other, you can notice things, just
sure.
by hanging out with them and knowing who they are. I would say always keep your eyes and ears open and listen to the older generation, what they're talking about, because there's a lot of knowledge there. There's a lot of years of experience, especially when around dinner time, around the coffee talk in the morning, crew change or whatever. Listen to what they're talking about, because you can learn a ton of what the academy doesn't teach you. You'll learn a ton of just hanging out with them and listening to them. If you start talking about something, they're going to start talking about stories. They're going to start telling you stories, but they're telling you stories, and listen to those stories and maybe ask those questions. Like did you pull a cross laid? What did you do? Did you do Metro Pack? Did you do what was the biggest thing of that? And just pay attention to that generation, what they're talking. And if they take you out to the fire engine, they are invested in you. They're investing in you to learn. So they want you to learn what they're going to pass on to you. So listen to them and go out there and spin that. It only takes a couple minutes to listen to what they're telling you, because they're telling you something that someone taught them. And that's one thing that we need to keep going throughout the fire service, because we don't want that knowledge to disappear. We can look through books all day long. We can read books. We can watch videos. We can do all this stuff. But if you actually sit down and talk to someone who's sitting there, conversing with you back and forth, and listen to them, they're teaching you a lot. And they don't even realize they're teaching you sometimes. They're just teaching, but they're teaching you a lot.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I would tell the newer generation.
Okay.
Is just keep your eyes and ears open all the time until you get to that vision's way out there, and you become a senior number one firefighter. And then you're the guy BSing at the table and people are listening to you. We have a young firefighter here that listens to me every time I talk to him. Every time I say something, he listens. Even like when it comes to staffing, and he does way more staffing stuff than I do. And I just do it on the weekends when I work overtime. We're mandatory here, and he listens. He listens like, do you think that's a good job? Do you think that's the way to do it? And I'm like, he was also in the military too, so he has that little background. But But I know what he's doing. He's listening. He's learning. He's learning. So.
And he'll carry that with him.
He will carry that
for the rest of his career.
Absolutely. Yep.
So when he's sitting in front of this camera in 30
That's right.
he can talk about my days with number one.
That's right. Yeah, no kidding. That's truth.
Yeah. All right. Well, I tell you what, Phil, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for getting together with me today. And look forward to working with you every chance I get between now and retirement.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
It's always fun.
Yes.
So, and one thing, I would tell them, don't lose their sense of humor.
Yeah.
This job has got a lot of humor in it. There's some right here. We're doing it right now.
Yep.
Don't lose your sense of humor. It's always funny stuff. Don't take it personally.
Because some of it's going to be at your expense.
That's right. Got made fun of many times throughout my career, but now I use those same jokes on the new guys.
Yeah. Well, we have a good time.
That's right.
We have a good time. We respect each other.
Totally.
We work hard with each other.
Totally.
And we have laughs together.
Totally fun. I love it. I love this job.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Phil.
All right.
Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right.